Like every 1 week, right, there's a new shiny new toy.
Correct.
And you just want to go and buy because it makes so much sense.
But your money is finite. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Debrief podcast. We're here in the studio.
We are here in the studio
We're no longer
to popular demand.
due to popular demand. So we're no longer at home. And so for today's episode, we'll be talking about some coins that we recently invested in because, as you know, there was a recent dip, which, if you are of rational mind, that means that it's a discount. It's discount season for people to ape into either coins that you're already like invested in or an opportunity to explore new coins. And so today, Jacky and I will be sharing some of the coins that we recently invested in, as well as what are some things that we look out for when it comes to alphas. So perhaps to start us off, Jacky, what were some coins that you recently looked at and even aped into?
Actually, maybe we do things differently. How
Okay.
about you start first?
I start first.
Hey, let's go.
I wasn't expecting that. I thought I got time to
Think about
what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at 3 coins in particular. I think the one that I put in and initiated the most position in, is that the right thing to say, was probably Credo, which I believe you also invested in.
Yes.
So for those that don't know Credo, so it's spelled QREDO and the ticker is QRDO. They are allowing institutions to manage funds across different networks at one time. So I played around a little bit on the main wallet that they have. The setup is quite complicated, but after that, you can really manage almost all your coins across different networks just on that one platform.
Right.
So I quite liked it a lot, and I can imagine a lot of institutional money, especially when they are managing right now, if I was a fund manager, I might be helping my $1 million client put some funds in bonds and government bonds, maybe money market, maybe stocks here and there in US, China and all this, right? Now these asset managers can then allocate part of this into crypto as well.
Okay.
So I think it's a very interesting proposition that they're putting forward lah.
Right. Can I ask, when do you come across this coin?
So I think it was about maybe 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, where a lot of it feels very superficial, right? But quite a lot of the information that I get, or a lot of these alphas that I get, is from Twitter influencers that I believe are quite legit lah, because I follow them from past alphas and it turned out to be really quite sound. And so I noticed a lot of people talking about Credo all of a sudden, especially lunatics.
Yeah.
And so then it came up so many times, I was like, no lah, I was trying to avoid any meme coins and altcoins and stuff like that. And then I just went and researched it, and I wow, this was something that had utility, and it was really trying to change introduce crypto investing into institutions. And so I thought, okay, that was very interesting. Let me just keep an eye on it. And so this was when I think it was $2.80 or $3 at that point of time.
Okay.
So I thought, okay lah, I'm just going to wait and see, maybe it's just going to hover around this price, right? Next day, it jumped to $5.
Right.
And then that bit of FOMO set in, right? Then I'm like, is anyone else working on this? Because this seems like a very obvious solution. And then I realized no one else is really working at this scale. The other thing that they're doing also is that we know that El Salvador is the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender, right? So all the Bitcoin solutions that they are creating in El Salvador, right, they have selected Credo to be that underlying platform to do it on. And so I was like, okay, this really has something going on for it. So the next day again, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to ape in, right? Jump to $6.
Oh shit.
So from 3 to 4 to 5 to $6, right, in a matter of 3-4 days, right, I'm like,
this is running away.
It's running away. I don't want to miss the boat. I don't want it to be another Luna, right? Because I was already hearing about Luna when it was $8, $10, and I was like, no lah, I'm already so heavily invested into the main coins. And then I was like, no, I cannot let this one run away. So when it was at $6, I aped in. When it went down to $7, I averaged up until now it's touching $8, $9, yeah.
Okay.
But you also aped in.
I aped in a bit. I haven't tried the mainnet, but obviously, I have to sort of confess.
Yeah.
I mostly aped in because 1, I looked at the team behind it, quite legit.
Yeah.
2, there was a lot of hype, there was a lot of momentum. 3 was that it was a relatively low market cap. At that point. Right now, I think it's above $1 billion already, so slightly high.
Yeah.
But to me, I looked at the market cap, I looked at the risk reward. I think it looks promising, so I buy a bit on it. But it wasn't even $6. It was at I think $8, $9.
Right. Okay.
So I never make money yet. But I think there's something that, you say, they're building a very interesting product.
Yep.
Targeted at institutions or other blockchain users lah. So I think there's some legs. So
Okay.
I bought in a bit also. yes.
But was it out of FOMO or like?
It was a bit out of FOMO.
Okay.
It was a bit out of FOMO. So I bought in a bit because the price ran up a lot already.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, this is like chasing the hype. But I feel like in crypto, right, price can go up crazily one. So like in early this year, for example, right, if you look at BNB, for example, or Matic, for example, right, when they chong, it's like they chong all the way up 2x, 3x, 5x.
Yeah.
And they don't stop one.
That's why.
Correct. So I feel like, I should buy in a bit, and I never really initiated a full position because if it, pull back a bit, then I might add in or whatnot lah. Yeah.
Okay. I think the other thing also, like you mentioned, like the team, I think the founder was like an ex-executive of like Binance as well. And so like he's already had skin in the game for a while.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. Okay, so that was my sharing. What's a coin that you recently invested in during the dip?
So for me, right, how I think about investing during dips, right, is that I like to, coincidentally today we're going to talk about 3 coins, right?
Yeah.
So how I look at it is basically, in terms of coin, in terms of risk reward, right? I look at high risk, medium risk, and low risk, or basically high market cap, medium market cap, and low market cap. Okay. So in the recent dip, I think there are 3 interesting coins that I sort of like average in. So maybe I can talk about the highest market cap one.
Sure.
So highest market cap, I think is between anything between 2 billion to 20 billion or 100 billion dollars, right? So those are relatively stable already. Those are maybe top 50 coins or top 100 coins. Recently, if you have been following the crypto space, right, Crypto.com obviously blew up.
Yeah, the massive marketing campaigns.
Correct. So actually, I heard of Crypto.com for a long time already. So one of our friends, he has a very decent bag of Crypto.com, but I felt like there's just so many exchanges out there already. There's Binance lah, there's like FTX lah, there's KuCoin, all those guys. But Crypto.com to me was another centralized exchange. So
just another one.
Yeah. So I didn't pay attention to it. Only recently, right, they did a lot more marketing. That's one. Second thing is they launched their smart contract, or their own chain, basically, not even a smart contract. They launched their own chain. Correct. They launched a Kronos chain. Yep. This allows a lot of new decentralized applications or like projects or AMM, right, to launch on the Kronos chain. With the launch of that chain, right, that changes a lot of stuff already. And that got me a bit interested because they launched their their farms, allowing people to stake their coins, all this kind of stuff, right? It reminded me a lot in the early days of Binance.
Okay.
Early this year, right? So if you look at Binance price action, right? In early this year, it was around like $90, $70 to $90. Then when it chunked all the way out, right? It chunked to like $200, $300, $500 before it went down, right? So I looked at the price action of Crypto.com, right? It reminded me a lot of what Binance did. They launched a new chain, and then there's a lot more applications, a lot more like protocol on it. A lot more money that's being moved into the Kronos chain. That's one. Second is that they do a lot of marketing, like you say, right? Because of the whole naming thing, right? And they are doing, if you use their product, actually their mobile app is actually very, very slick.
Yeah, it's very user friendly.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, a lot more people are going to come in already. That's one. Second is that from a developer, from a total value lock, in terms of money, in terms of liquidity coming into the Kronos chain, right? I think there's a lot of like tailwind. There's a lot of like catalysts.
Yeah.
So then I bought in a bit. Obviously, now if you look back, it seemed very obvious. Obviously, they're gonna blow up.
Yeah.
So I only bought in like, I think about 2-3 weeks ago. But 2-3 weeks is, I think
it's what, 30 cents?
30 cents, 40 cents, I think.
Wow.
So it's about 70 cents already. But it wasn't a very big size lah. It was a decent bag. I didn't initiate a lot because like, the upside to me is quite limited.
Okay.
It's not a 10x or 20x. Okay, but caveat, I have never done I'm looking for 10x and 20x right now lah. But Crypto.com, I don't know whether at the entry price that I went in, it was at about $10 billion market cap already. Very hard to imagine it, or rather a lot needs to happen for it to go from $10 billion to $100 billion, which is basically 10x lah. So then the risk reward to me, like, not there. So that's the most recent one that I sort of bought in because there's a lot of like, again, a lot of like tailwind, a lot of projects coming, a lot of users gonna come in also.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of marketing. The product is great.
I think what's interesting also is that, so the marketing is great because it's specifically targeting people who are not in crypto.
Correct.
And so, like, especially with a name like crypto.com, right? And then they're going that they are sponsoring things like sports teams and all of this. Like, they just bought like the naming rights to like Staples Center and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then I think the other aspect also is that because of their credit card, right? Like, you need to stake like at least 500 or 5,000 depending on what tier you want for 180 days, which means that amount of CRO, right? Like CRO, the coin, is going to be locked in
the ecosystem.
In the ecosystem. So it's relatively like stable in that sense. And you can imagine that a lot of the reason why the price is going up is because people are signing up for these things. They're locking in their CRO inside.
Yeah.
And so it, again, like we like take all of this investment advice like with a pinch of salt, right? Of course, do your own research. But it feels as though that price is somewhat stable. And if it goes up, it's very unlikely to suddenly crash within the next few months.
Yeah. And they're doing a lot of marketing stuff. Like, you know, people always share like those billboard ads those bus ads in those, you know, MRT stations.
Fortune favors the brave and the crypto.com.
Correct. So you can see the ads every single day and like, okay you know, they're going to get more users. More users, very good. Means they trade on the app itself. Trading fee, they make a lot of money and then they can do more marketing. So not bad.
Okay,
so back to you.
Wait, I want to stick it, like I want to stay with you because you mentioned like your high risk, your mid risk and your low risk, right? So I'm assuming that your low risk means that it's high market cap.
Yes.
And so then your high risk would be
very low market cap.
What was an example of your low market cap one?
Okay, so recently, not really recently so I discovered this protocol about 2-3 months ago, but it's still, so it's a $2 million to $3 million market cap coin, which is ridiculous. At this point, you cannot find already. So this project called Drops Ownership Power, so DOP. Even the name like sounds like lame. So basically what DOP does, right, is that it allows you to stake your NFT. To make money from your NFT. So for example, right now, right? So to me, I feel like NFT is here to stay.
Yeah.
Anything that can be tokenized will be tokenized. So what if you have a portfolio of NFTs already? Imagine you have your Pudgy Penguin, you have your punks, you have your ape and all those, right? You have a portfolio of NFT already, right? Is there not doing anything? Something is wrong. So what DOP does is basically they're going to create the protocol allows you to deposit your NFT into the protocol and you can earn liquidity. You can loan it out to other people.
Okay.
You can stake it. You can also farm and do whatever you want. Basically unlocking liquidity from your NFT. Because all NFT, right, there's an inherent value. I don't know how they evaluate it, but I feel like those blue chip one, right, they can put a value to it. Similar to how Anchor Protocol work, you know, you deposit collateral, right?
Yeah.
This one is the same thing. You deposit your NFTs as collateral, and then you can farm it, you can borrow money, you can lend it out.
So if you can't pay back, then you lose your NFT essentially
I think it's like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. One is that they're backed by interesting backers, small backers, relatively quiet. Two, they are, wait, let me just find the note that I wrote. Right? So they're the first ever project to launch NFT lending pools. What it means is you can earn interest on your NFT, you can stake it, you can farm it. Low market cap. I love it.
Earn interest on it, because like to me when it's like a currency, right, like if it's crypto, I can understand it because you're adding liquidity. People can borrow the amount of coins that you're putting in. But when it comes to NFTs, like, are people borrowing the NFTs?
No, they're not. They're borrowing the token itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the value attached to your NFT, they will
Correct.
attach that amount of tokens to it. Okay.
Yeah, so basically unlocking liquidity or create your value. NFT, everyone that owns an NFT will know that it's very illiquid. Yeah. What they're trying to do is make it more liquid.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can buy it.
I think it's a very interesting bet. So I can imagine, for example, if it blows up, right, 100x on this is still $200 million market cap.
Which is very,
which is still,
there's so much more potential, there's so much room for it.
Correct. So I think if this one is 100x, wow, I'm very, very happy. If it's not, then whatever lah, you know. So I feel like the downside is very limited for me.
Okay.
Unless it goes to zero lah, but I don't think it's going to go to zero because one, they have a decent team. Two is that they're backed by investors also. Three, they're fully doxed, so I know who are the guys behind it. Okay. And they launched their testnet also. Okay. And then they have liquidity pool that allows people to test the liquidity pool already. So the concept is sound. Whether or not they can make it happen,
Yeah.
that's another story lah. But if they do, I think there's a lot of upside. To me, this is a sort of like a high risk. Like the money could be gone.
Yeah.
But how I looked at it is that, if it works out, it's gonna be an easy 50x, 100x, and I think it's gonna be life-changing money lah. I guess if I put decent amount of money, if let's say for example I put $2,000,
Yeah.
$2,000 100x, how much?
200k.
200k.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
You put in 10k, it'll be $1 million.
Hey, I should put 10k.
If it 100x.
Yeah. So the investors are quite interesting. CTO, Sushi Swap CTO invested also.
Oh, okay.
How can he be wrong? How can he be wrong, right?
Yeah.
Audius. Hey, your favorite.
Hey.
So Audius, one of the guys from Audius also invested. Mechanism Capital. Yeah, so I guess they would have done duty and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think what attracted to me to the project is basically low cap, $2-3 million.
Yeah. So that's an important factor for you when you look at it. Because the potential to grow.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look for 50x, 100x. Because I have, people always talk about their bags. And I'm like, I don't have. At most, I have two.
You have a MAYC
lah. So that to me was interesting.
Okay,
so that's the second project that I averaged in recently also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for me, another coin that I looked into and invested in was Render, which I believe you also are familiar with.
I'm familiar with it. Yes.
So RNDR. For those who don't know, basically what Render does is that, how far do I scale this back? So, as people like Ether, for example, right, when they still use proof of work, what they do is that they're channeling the GPU power, right, of like all the computers that are mining Ethereum essentially. So what you're doing is that you're decentralizing or democratizing GPU power across the world. What Render is doing is that at the end of the day, the arts industry or like the visual arts industry still requires GPU power in some sense. So then if Ethereum mining is already decentralizing GPU power, you can borrow GPU power from this other computer, for example, right? How can we help the entertainment business create 3D art or all this visual art, right? By borrowing GPU power from this whole network of like GPUs lah. So I think it's very interesting because I was reading on Twitter also quite a lot of people in the entertainment industry like Netflix and Disney and Marvel are already using Render. Google just announced that they're using Render as well. I think Render announced that Google's using Render. And so to me it's like, okay, this is quite an interesting project that like I feel like I want to be part of lah.
Yeah.
So to me, like I think it's quite interesting that you look at market cap. I think that's something that I also should like start to look at. I think Credo was one that was very interesting to me because when I bought in it was like maybe 250 million at that point of time.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But for Render was specifically just because of how interesting this project was for me. Using the blockchain to like essentially, use a network of GPUs lah.
Yeah.
Did you look into it as well?
I have Render also. Recently, I bought Render also.
Okay.
Because of the whole idea of the distributed GPU also.
Yeah.
That's one. Second is that they have use case. They have users lah.
Yeah.
And then you can imagine the future application, or you can imagine it growing 5x in terms of the scale because the demand for what they're doing is going to grow.
Especially when people are not just building movies, they're building the metaverse.
Correct.
You need all that GPU computing
Correct.
power.
The entertainment industry, everyone is coming to the blockchain, and you can imagine like, okay, the product is there for them to use lah. So I can see it. I can comfortably hold it.
Yes. It's very tangible almost.
I can sleep well,
Yeah.
If it falls, 50%, whatever lah, it's going to go back up lah, another 500%, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I bought in a bit also lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what's also is very interesting was like there are notable people that are backing it. So like Beeple, for example, if you don't know, like he sold like a piece of digital art for like $69 million. He's also part of the advisory board.
Yeah.
So I think that's to me like very interesting lah.
Yeah, so interesting that you spoke about Beeple. I think one common thing that we spoke about is basically when we look at projects, right? We need to look at the team behind it.
Yes.
Who's backing it?
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing. Even for NFTs, right? Like teams that are anonymous is just bad news lah.
Yeah. Not fully doxed.
Yeah, so I feel like, who's backing the team, who's backing the project. should be part of the consideration process lah.
Because it just adds a layer of like accountability.
Yeah.
So if they're willing to put their faces on it, you know that if it goes to shit, like they are going to hold their hands up and like be accountable as opposed to running away lah. So we've talked about your high risk one, we've talked about your low risk one. What's your mid risk, mid cap?
For mid risk one is basically mid market cap lah. So I define it as anything between 1 billion to 5 billion.
Oh, so that's okay.
That's to me lah. I feel like anything more than 5 billion, that's like a top 30 coin already.
Okay.
That's like stable already and it's proven already. So between a mid cap one could be actually, even 700 million market cap to like 5 billion, right?
Yeah, I would think like lower. But
so for me, the recent one that I bought is basically gaming lah. So Ultra, I bought in Ultra.
Okay.
So I love it because for a very quick one-line pitch, right? If you're a gamer, you will know Steam, right?
Is the Steam?
It's the blockchain Steam lah. Right. Steam for crypto lah. The price is okay. I think the market cap right now is about 1 billion plus.
Okay.
The use case is, so I asked myself, right, 5 years later, because to me, I need to hold it for like 5 years later or 3 years later,
Yeah.
So can I see Steam falling out of like favor? Yes, because they publicly declare that, no more crypto, right?
They're banning NFT games or something
yeah, so
like
then
that.
For all the other game publishers, they want to, unlock money through NFT gaming, all those sort of guys, right? They need to find alternative. Ultra law.
Yeah.
Right? And Ultra, basically, they have a working product already. They just announced that they onboarded a gaming publishing partner.
Okay.
And the first game that's going to go into their game store is basically a Walking Dead game lah.
Oh.
Yeah, so the publisher of Walking Dead. I never played the game.
Yeah.
I'm not really a gamer because I'm
Dota lah.
I'm old already lah. But yeah, so the first game is gonna be published it's gonna come onto Ultra early next year.
Okay.
So I think there's some like time. So now it's sort of accumulation period right now.
Yep.
I think if it works out, I think more publishers gonna come on board because they already have the SDK, they already have the platform to onboard, to port over, for all the publishers to port over their games, and then easily just start another Steam lah, and giving all these new game publishers extra tools, extra features for them to monetize their product. So imagine, right? The thing about crypto and NFT, right, is basically it allows you to sell your in-game skin lah, your in-game NFTs lah, all this kind of stuff, right? With Ultra, the game publishers can do that right now. You can, you level up already, you collect coins, you collect your, your skin, you can sell to Ultra tokens, for example. Yeah, so
it's quite similar to like, I think when you look at the Steam marketplace, for example, everyone who plays Dota will get you get a skin, then you can sell it for like money, but it's locked into like the Steam wallet, right? Or like you play PUBG, you get different skins also, you can sell it, but it's all like money that is stuck in your Steam wallet.
Yeah.
What this allows you to do is that across all your games, you literally have that ownership of the NFT, and then you can just sell it for like tokens, which makes it a lot easier.
Correct.
It's crazy. I think it's really going to revolutionize like the way we play games. Because like you see all these MMORPGs also. Like I have friends, right, who spend hours, like I think maybe 40 hours in a week, right, like playing fantasy games where you craft items. And then at the end of the day, like we spoke about this in the Daily Catch-Up podcast also, like you spend hours crafting an item.
Yeah.
But it's stuck in the game, and then like if the developers realize they don't want to like support the game anymore, right, your hours all just disappear.
Correct.
As opposed to being able to sell it for tokens and then like go across the chain.
Yeah. So Ultra was basically, to me, it popped up in my radar again because recently there's this whole Metaverse / gaming crypto hype. Then I took a look at all the gaming tokens and see which one I like, which one I think has a good chance of succeeding, and then I averaged in recently lor.
Okay.
Yeah, but Ultra is not new. It has been around for a while already, but only recently they announced their first gaming partner, and they officially announced that the first game is gonna come to their store already.
Okay.
Yeah, so I downloaded the whole Ultra dashboard. There's no game for me to play
Because there's
nothing yet. Yeah, so I'm like sian. But I think now no one's talking about it, so I bought a bit.
It's a good time to buy lah.
Good time to buy,
before it goes up. I think speaking of like the Metaverse and you talk about gaming, right? So that's kind of related to the third coin that I invested in. Yay! We find the link.
Okay.
So I think as you know, when the dip happened, right, one category of coins or tokens that weren't affected, actually they went up, right, was Metaverse related tokens. So things like Sand, Mana, Engine to some extent, all increased when all the other coins went down. So then to me it was like, it's a bit late already, I'm not going to buy into this. But what are other Metaverse related like coins to look at lah? And so what came into my radar was actually this thing called RFox or Red Fox. RFox is the token name lah.
Yeah.
And so what they're doing, right, is basically they are a venture builder that's based in Vietnam, but specifically for Southeast Asia. And like we know how Axie Infinity is doing in Vietnam, for example, and like that whole space is like growing lah. And so they are a Southeast Asia based venture builder, right, specifically helping to build ventures that are related to the metaverse. And then what they're gonna kind of implement in that sense, because they're providing all this capital, right, is that the RFox currency will be the currency across all these new games that are being built that they invested in. So to me is that if I'm quite bullish on their ability to build these games, and it has been around for a while, like it's not a new coin, right? But to me, I felt that potential. Again, like I think it's because also I FOMO'd out from not being able to invest in the other metaverse related
Still can
coins.
though.
Still can lah, but then so if I think about it this way, right, like I am hyped on Decentraland, but to me this is like stage 1 of what the metaverse should look like, because everything's very clunky. Like I've used it and I hate my experience on Decentraland. Like I know people who love Decentraland. I hate it. It's so clunky, it's so laggy.
Yeah.
When I went for the Metaverse Festival, it's so laggy, right?
Yeah.
Obviously they're going to improve this over time, but to me I can see them being leapfrogged by a lot of other players. And so while I do foresee, obviously it's going to spike for the near term, I can't see myself holding it for the long term. Maybe I'm going to it's going to bite my ass. Like I'm going to watch this like 2 years time, right? They're going to be the biggest player in the metaverse space.
Yes, yeah.
But like I can't see myself like investing in it at the moment lah. But have you invested in any metaverse related stuff? Coins?
Sandbox lah. Yeah. So I was holding it for a while. It was a sleeping bag lah. Then it sort of exploded. Yeah, so I just held it and I didn't do anything. Oh, I averaged up when it exploded. I bought it at, like less than $1 lah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then after that, I averaged in when it went up to more than $1. I think $5. I averaged in again. Okay. And then after that, I never do anything already.
Yeah, but just send lah.
Just send, only send. For Metaverse lah. Yeah, only send.
Okay.
For Metaverse, because it's a very big theme right now since Facebook came out and say, not just Facebook but Microsoft also, right? Everyone is trying to go into the Metaverse space, right?
Yeah.
The 2-3 biggest player, Decentraland, which is Mana, right? Sandbox.
Yeah.
And then the third one is Engine lah. So these are the 3 top stable big Metaverse coin that you have to have lah. And then I feel like Sand is my pick. And then after that, you can go to all the degen picks like your like your what was your one, Red Fox or something, RFox, right? And then all the other weird gaming metaverse stuff, right? Yeah. Then you can play a bit, but I feel like you need to have an anchor.
Like a blue chip almost.
Correct, blue chip is the word. Like a blue chip metaverse one,
which is either one of like the three lah.
To me is at this point is Sandbox lah. Yeah.
So in general, what are like some factors that you look at? So you mentioned about like market cap, that's quite important to you. Team. Speaking of which, the Red Fox one, they've also fully docked, so like I think quite safe. What are other factors that you look out for when it comes to like these kind of alphas or like coins that you want to like invest in?
For me is I need to be able to see it 2 years later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not like a quick like cash grab for you in the near term.
Maybe I will ape in.
Yeah.
But then I will quickly, when it crashed 30%, right? I'm like, nope, I don't know who you are. I'm like, who are you? What are you doing in my portfolio, right? But for those that I, will average in one, are those that I can see me holding 2 years later.
Okay.
Like for example, so I mentioned about Ultra, right? There's a very strong chance that they will be the default gaming platform for blockchain.
Okay.
I can see it, right? For let's say Sandbox, I never talked about Sandbox, but since we mentioned Sandbox, right? Can they be the de facto platform for all things metaverse? I can see it roughly, right? Crypto.com, I can see it being for new users that want to come into the space.
Yeah.
They always ask, which crypto exchange should I go? Which account should I open?
Yeah.
Crypto.com lor.
It really seems like the easiest.
Right?
If like I think especially for new users, like whenever I ask, like when someone asks me like what to join, right, and then I usually tell them, okay, like technically FTX is the easiest to on-ramp. KuCoin has more coins.
Yes.
But then once you get to a page, like if you've never bought stocks before on like Tiger Brokers or like on a brokerage platform, right, you won't know how to navigate through like limit price and like amount price and all this. It's so like, I can imagine for a new user, it's so hard. Crypto.com, you put in your money, it can even be in XSGD, you can even sync it up to your straight stacks and everything. And then you literally just go to the coin and buy.
I think it's also just the mind share and the branding lah. Yeah. So I can see it also.
Yeah.
You know,
which they paid $12 million to buy the
so,
the URL.
And then the next one is basically DOP.
Yeah.
The concept I can see also. I can understand also. I get it. So then there's a chance. Then if it goes down like 50%, I'm like, I'm just gonna buy more.
Okay.
Right. So to me, again, to answer your question, the team is very important.
Yeah.
The market cap also very important in terms of allocation.
Yeah.
Which one should I allocate more? If it's a very high market cap one, I will not allocate that much. I feel like at this point. And then after that, the third thing is that can I see myself holding it for 2 years or not?
What about the category? Or like, I mean, we talked about this off camera, like the theme. Yeah. Are there any specific themes that you're looking for?
For sure. So, for now, I mean, now is the gaming metaverse theme right now.
Yeah.
Before that, the theme was NFT, and then other L2, L1, L2s, right?
Yeah.
And then there was
layer 1, layer 2.
Layer 1s and layer 2s. And then after that, recently there was the meme coin also for like 1-2 weeks when Shiba blew up, right?
Yeah.
So right now the theme sort of shifted towards metaverse and gaming, which is why we there's more chatters around this.
Yeah.
And then we came across all those coins that we bought lah.
So you talk about the meme coin, your meme coin phase, the theme that you're looking at, and then your NFT phase, and now your metaverse phase, right? From memory talking to you, this feels like this wasn't months ago. This was like 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and 1 week ago. Like the themes appear to change so rapidly.
Yeah.
How do you even keep track?
You can't.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say like it's a bit impossible to chase every single thing. Like every 1 week, right? There's a new shiny new toy.
Correct.
And you just want to go and buy because it makes so much sense.
But your money is finite.
Correct. So I also don't know how to do. So which is why it's more important for you to have conviction, to understand what you're holding.
Yeah.
So that, when there's something that comes out, right?
Yeah.
You'll be like, does this make sense or not? I also wanted to say that's where the market cap comes in also.
Okay.
So you have to see the upside. So for example, let's say a new theme comes in, right? And if the upside for the new theme is much higher than the coins that you're holding, you should relocate to the new theme that came across, right? There's a reason. If you look at all of the gaming or metaverse related market cap right now, right, the total number of market cap of that category, right, is less than the market cap of Shiba. Think about it.
Oh wow!
But okay, this was like last week's stats lah. Someone pointed this to me.
Yeah.
But Shiba dropped a lot already, right? And metaverse gaming go up a lot already,
right?
Right?
Okay.
So all of the metaverse related market cap, right?
That's crazy.
The thing about Sandbox, $2 billion, $3 billion market cap money.
Yeah.
Or 4 billion, I can't remember. Shiba at one point was what, 20 billion or 30 billion or 40 billion or something like that. The total market cap of metaverse and gaming is less than Shiba.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which means if you're holding on to Shiba, which I don't, you should think about how much more can Shiba or the coin that you're holding, how much more can it go?
I think a word that you mentioned in, again, another conversation that we have off camera was, how do you, if you categorize all your coins that you have in your portfolio to productive and unproductive, right?
Yeah.
How do you constantly shuffle your unproductive? It's like take a look at your entire portfolio and see what is unproductive. Why just sitting there and not really earning any capital gains and you're not earning like interest from it. Maybe it's time to move it on to like something else that has higher potential.
Yeah.
No, because at the end of the day, like I think the biggest struggle is that you're right, every day, every week there's a brand new shiny thing and it always feels like, oh my god, I need to get into that. But then I'm looking at my bank account also and it's like every day is depleting. Like where is this new money going to come from? Which means that I have to use the current coins that I have to reshuffle. And then I go through the whole list and I'm like, wow, but this one can it, but this one also can it, but
Yeah.
this one also, then
So
like,
so one way to think about is the upside.
Yeah.
So let's say for example, one of my biggest back holder is Luna.
yeah,
Luna is a drag to my portfolio right now because it's just not performing.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, Luna market cap is about I think 12 billion to 20 billion between there. So for
let's see
it to
what the
double,
lunatics think about that.
for it to double, right? A lot needs to happen,
yeah,
and then it will only double.
yeah,
Think about that.
yeah, lor.
But if you reallocate, I haven't reallocate yet. Okay, if you reallocate, there's a higher chance of 2x to 3x
Yeah.
or 5x.
Yeah.
If you go to a lower market cap one, even let's say $500 million one, so it's more likely for a $500 million market cap coin
Yeah.
to double to 1 billion than your Luna to double from the current 12 billion maybe to 20 billion.
Agreed, which is why
Yeah.
like for the longest time my biggest bet was Bitcoin, right? And this
Yeah.
entire thing I didn't even touch it at all because to me it's like to go from 50,000 to 100,000, right? Just to 2 times,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my goodness, there are all these other altcoins that I think are a lot more promising. Obviously, more risk,
Yeah.
but way more. Like I could 3 times, 4 times even compared
Yeah.
to like putting into Bitcoin.
Yeah, but I
right?
also wanted to say, right, I have no luck.
So shouldn't follow you lah.
So, like,
Thanks for listening, but don't follow what Jacky says.
yeah, so like when I rotate, right, then it's always after I cannot usually when I find the alphas, right, I'm a bit too late already.
Everyone's liquidity. Yeah,
Everyone's exit liquidity
Exactly.
or back holder but
Yeah.
I'm happy to hold because like I can see myself holding it for like 2 years or whatnot lah.
Okay. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this episode of the Chain Debrief podcast. So today we talked about some of the coins that we recently aped in given the recent dip, as well as what are some things that we look out for when we consider these tokens and coins. So like Jacky mentioned, he looks out for the team behind it, the market cap, as well as the theme, the category it belongs to. Whereas while I also consider those things, I also look at the utility and the use case for these particular coins and the projects behind it. Were there anything else that you're looking at?
Whether I can see it happening or not.
Whether you can see yourself using it for the
Correct.
next 2 years.
Correct.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever that they promise, is there a chance of that happening in the next 1 or 2 years or not?
Yeah.
So they have to be leader in that space also.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that's that lor.
Like whether they're the first movers. So like, I think when we talk
Correct.
about like what's it, Ultra for example.
Actually, there's like 2 or 3 more that attempted
Okay.
since 2017 to 2018. GG already.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what makes them different then?
Well, I mean their team, and then I think it's timing also.
Okay.
And
People weren't ready back then.
correct,
for it.
and
Okay.
they're great partners. So they partnered with like AMD. They partnered with a lot of like, great guys lah.
Okay, I think at the end of the day as well, like we shared quite a lot of number of coins, but and projects, but it's also very much down to personal preference. So even though it's a cliche at the moment, please do your own research, look it up, see if you can see yourself using some of these apps, or you can see people using these apps, and there is a massive use case for it. Then maybe that's something that you should look into. But again, do remember that all of this are just personal preference lah.
Yeah. So like us buying it doesn't mean that you should buy it. Us liking it doesn't mean that you should like it also, because there's like tens of thousands of crypto tokens out there right now, and there's so many use cases, so many categories. It's up to you to build your portfolio.
Agreed. But thanks so much for watching, so that you can find out about these coins anyway. And we'll see you in the next one. Also, if you like what you watch, remember to like and subscribe. Bye bye.